Hello, welcome to day 2 weekend, a split 2 of the 2020 OPL. I'm your host, Nick Boy Richardson, and I am so excited to be here thanks to our sponsors, Macca's, Neosurf, and Epos. And it wouldn't be a Saturday evening without my 3 favorite Saturday evening friends. That's what we all call each other. It's Spawn, Skimmy, and Rusty. How are we, gentlemen?
I'm not as good as you. You look so incredibly comfortable.
Nick? What is that?
This is actually so hilarious.
So this is the blanket from behind me. So what happened is I'm very tired, and I had a nap in the middle of the day, and then I woke up and realized I hadn't gotten my clothes from upstairs to wear today. All I had was this white T-shirt, which I had neatly folded next to the bed as I took a nap down here. And then there are kids asleep in both rooms where my clothes are right now. So all I have is like a white T-shirt. I was like, it would be unprofessional to appear on the broadcast wearing only a white T-shirt. So I need something to cover me up. And so this is all I had access to.
And the thing is I said put a blanket on, a doona on, because I had in my head the fact that you're going to be in a white T-shirt with maybe a cream or a baby blue or maybe a green doona, but you're just now white on white.
Yeah. Yep, and I'm very white.
I'm
a pasty white. So I'm white on white on white.
I just full screened you. Your eyes look really nice today. So yeah.
Thanks, buddy. How are you?
You know what? Let's not talk about how I am because I don't want to bring the mood down at minute 3 of the show. So let's just push right on to Rusty. Zach, how are you?
I ticked off all of my assignments today. I just got feedback on the last one, mate. So I'm green in all boxes.
So good.
So we're almost
That's so
there.
good.
Yes, that
That's
felt
so
amazing.
And Skimmy, how has your last 24 hours been?
Tired, I think, is the narrative for all of us here, right? But look, you're a winter wonderland, Nick. I'm gonna get lost in your eyes. We're gonna punch on. It's gonna be okay.
Well, we are excited to be back with another 4 games of League of Legends with you. We are barreling towards the end of the split, and it's getting very, very exciting. Today should be a great one, and it is all, well, not all thanks. It's 1/3 thanks to Neosurf. I suppose it's 1/4 because Riot have probably done their bit in producing the game, but it's mainly due to our partners, and particularly Neosurf, who want to give you the chance to win $500 dues if you want to become a part of our opening titles, and whether you want to bring your blanket with you or not. All you need to do is create a video of you joining our opening title sequence, DM it to @OPL, and follow @Neosurf Esports on Twitter. We will pick the winners live on the show in a couple of weeks' time. The first place will get $500 worth of Neosurf voucher credit to use in the League of Legends store and added to the titles. And then the runners-up will also be added to the titles. They'll get themselves $100 each, which seems like a great deal. Full terms and conditions are available at watch.lollysports.com. Neosurf, simple, secure way to pay and play online. So thank you very much to them. And I mentioned Riot before. Let's thank Riot for League of Legends, and let's thank them for the 4 games that we have today. Let's take a look at the schedule and see who is playing who. We had a very dominant left side of the graphic yesterday. Is it going to happen again today? Game number 1, Order versus Legacy. Game 2, Chiefs taking on Gravitas. It's then Pentanet.gg versus Mammoth for Game 3, and rounding out the evening, it's Avant Gaming versus Direwolves. Rusty, what is the game of the day for you?
I mean, you know what? I don't even think I need to say it before Spore goes, aha!
Yeah.
it's game 1, Order versus Legacy for sure. I think it's an interesting game. You know, Order came in with red hot form, so it's super interesting to see how they translate that to what is more of a brick wall of an opponent.
Mm-hmm. Spawn, how are the Order boys feeling?
Yeah, we're doing good. We're chilling. Honestly, just another day. everyone will meme the crap out of this, right? But it's just another regular season game. Like, it doesn't actually matter all that much. There's still 7 games to play, or 6 games to play in the OPL regular season. There's no point, you know, getting all worked up over a best of 1. So we'll come out, we'll try and play our best League of Legends. Hopefully it's good enough to take down Legacy and, you know, clinch that top spot. But if it's not, then, you know, we have to be ready for 5 weeks' time when we play them in the grand final, most likely. So I think that this really is just another day in the office for us, and, you know, our continual grind to trying to be the Oceanic representatives for Worlds.
It's like I can't even hear the nerves in the voice.
There isn't any nerves today. Like to be honest, like Legacy, I mean, the best thing about playing a team like Legacy is you have nothing but respect for them, right? And I think that if you have a look at what Legacy's been able to do this year, they've had a really stellar, you know, first 7 months of the year. They had brought in a great coach in Jensen Go. Looks like Denian's translated across well. They've got great carry players in people like Raze and Tally. They're playing Halo today, which is a little bit interesting to me. I think this is going to be a big test for Halo. But across the board, you know, nothing but respect for Legacy, the organization. And I think that, you know, this is set to be an absolute banger of a match.
Absolutely. Rusty, I can't help but notice you're exuding massive grandpa energy right now.
We have
the
a lot
cardigan,
in common.
Yeah, we do. Well, like, I feel like I'm less grandpa and more like grandma who just died and we don't have anything to put her in while we're waiting for the ambulance to come. Like,
No,
I'm very much
Nick.
wrapped up. Like, is that
No,
not what is wrong with that? What is all grandmas die? It's just a fact. I don't know why. What we need to talk about these things, Skimmy. Why are we being so sensitive? Let's normalize
you
death.
stunned the audience. They're like, what on earth? This guy doesn't know how to get himself dressed. He doesn't know how to behave on camera. Get him off.
I don't understand what I said that's so controversial. Is all of chat just learning of their own mortality? I don't understand. Oh my goodness.
One day,
I can't
chat,
cope
you will
with this.
be grandma, and we will wrap you in a blanket as we wait for an ambulance to take you away.
All right. Somehow, I seem to have said the most shocking thing that's ever happened on the OPL, and that is a massive bar. So this is already off to a great start. Also off to a great start should be game number 1. It's Order versus Legacy. We're all excited about jumping in today, so let's not hold it off any longer. It's game number 1, and it's coming up after this short break with the Maccas Champ Select. Hashtag everybody.
The thing that I was proud of in the Direwolves game for us was that we didn't always make the best play, but we committed to that play together and we came out with, you know, a decent result of a win. But also, yeah, no, the way we were team fighting, I was really proud of Bill and I specifically for, you know, team fighting pretty insane on Implicit. So it was pretty nuts.
And do Order just look for another flank?
Ayla, gonna take Chippies in.
Anything to fear from Legacy? I can just tell you, like, yeah, they're great players. I'm gonna play against them. I'm probably gonna beat them. And I hope they put in Halo because I want to smash one of my good friends.
They are looking for the flank. Who is the kill type, and where does Ayla look to try and go for?
It will feel good to sort of win the regular split against them and convert that to maybe a grand final. So I'm just very excited to play against them. Like, I think we're pretty evenly matched.
Swiper from the river, headbutts him with the ultimate. Now
I'm looking forward to a good game.
And welcome back for the very first game of the day as myself and Rusty kick it off in a fantastic fashion with the biggest game to open things up with here. Legacy taking on Order. It is a battle for first position on the table with the head-to-head tied at 1 apiece. This game will be the difference maker.
Yeah, it's going to be a very big game between both of these teams. And if we take a quick step back, Skimmy, to the form coming into today, very different performances yesterday. Order never in doubt from the first minute of the game. They invaded against Gravitas, 25-minute victory, and it could have been faster if they really wanted it to be.
Yep.
25 minutes is still very much commanding. It's not a freak out at LCK levels, but it is very fast. Whereas Legacy pushed to their limits. Now, different caliber of opponent, I think it's fair to say, against the Direwolves. They came in pretty red hot.
Yep.
Legacy still outscaled, still out team fought, and on the back of Babip and Raze in particular, found their way into the game. But once they got a lead, Skimmy, they did not look like losing, and they snowballed the game very quickly. So they're still dangerous coming into today.
They certainly are, and as you said, they drafted for that late game power, and we'll get to see what kind of variation of these two teams we'll get here today, because the last time they met, it was a 43-minute game with 38 kills. It was all about the late game, all about sort of survival and making the least amount of mistakes possible, for lack of a better term here, as we get ourselves ready into the pick and ban phase. One interesting note I found is that both junglers, the only picks they've gone for were the Nidalee and the Graves. Both times they flipped it on either end. But Nidalee on both occasions has completely dominated in the jungle, and we see another few commonalities in the likes of Order always banning away the Karma. We know that Halo can also play it as well. I'm sure Tally's going to feel pretty hard done by based on how strong he was on that Victor yesterday. But on the flip side of that, Legacy have always said we can ban away the Bard because, hey, both Isles and Ayla are insane at that one pick.
Yeah, most definitely going to need to remove that one from the board. Nidalee actually going to be a first pick here, so they're going to put a lot more of their priority towards, first of all, a magic damage jungler, which does open up some variability in solo lanes, and then a pretty farm-centric jungler as well, who just wants to have a pretty unimpeded first clear of the game. You can see that initial hover there from Swiper as well, considering something like the Kha'Zix, a very different play style, but they're not going to opt towards that. They've gone for a lot more control.
They certainly have, and whether or not that's going to be the blessing in disguise and make it 3 from 3 here for Nidalee Jungles in this matchup. We're going to see that Harry actually gets himself a Zoe locked in. Had been put on the likes of Orianna and Azir in the past. Usually those are actually banned away from him, but the direction this time around is to try and target Red. Now, there's no Kalista ban. That's always been one that Order have targeted as well. And obviously we're now seeing that Ashe is a priority instead. So with Tally out of this game, that's the question of what can we really see Halo showcase? He's played the Orianna so far, and he's going to go back to it again.
I think it's a pretty important thing to highlight. Again, like, he is a proficient mage player, Halo. Tally has specific champions. This is something we spoke about yesterday, and Spawn went to great lengths to really elaborate on as well, and he did very well in explaining that. You've got your Victor. You know, that's the Tally champion. And a lot of people, when it comes to playing mid lane, will either play the Victor or play the Orianna, and there's no middle ground. But Orianna is such an important pick right now, so having an Ori player in is going to be very valuable. Right now, there isn't a lot of setup for that Orianna to get a whole lot done, and the opposing team can navigate okay around that Ori pick, especially if the Olaf's there. They're not going to be able to shockwave anyone in. So very curious to see how they continue this combo out Legacy, and if they are going to look for some kind of teamfight wombo, or if that Ori is just a standalone strong pick that has good lane control, and then they build a comp around it elsewhere.
Yes, we're going to wait and find out because speak of the devil, the Kale has been denied away. There's no chance this time for Tapoon to try and play for that late game shenanigans. Both games he actually played the GP, but that's been taken away as well. So he's going to have to try and draft something a little different here today. And that's the matchup that I'm most curious of based on the fact that last time Swiper really had his number. It's a lane they've always been trying to find a window into. But they're going to show respect and they're going to ban away the Sign as a response.
Yeah, Sion, respect ban, definitely. I mean, Swiper's kind of put the foot down on the OPL, hasn't he? And said Sion is a fantastic pick. There's been a lot of attempts to replicate Sion's level, Swiper's level of Sion, but nothing really to the same level as the mastermind of the tanks in top lane. So it's a good ban. It's good that they take that one away. And a lot of top lane focus in general here. And I think, you know, with a Kayle ban, you can respond with a Sion and say, okay, they're looking to get away with like a tanky top laner. And now the Camille's been taken away here as well, which really does open the gates to a lot of potential picks in top lane. And a Cannon.
Yeah, heavy focus there on that top lane in these second rotation of bans. That's the question now. What are we going to get to see? The likes of Renekton and the likes of Gnar, all obviously still up and available. One that both players are very proficient at as well. That's going to be confirmed now. We get the hover on a Yuumi, and I said if the Kalista isn't banned, then Legacy will snatch that one up. They certainly have. The question is, what support do they want to go for? Once upon a time, it was the guarantee, the likes of that, and a Taric. But it doesn't seem to be the mantra of Legacy so far, playing for early game.
This isn't a horrible Gnar game. I do think there may be some better picks. Aatrox being the current hover is not a bad choice by any means. But he knows his matchup. He knows that he's going to have a free laning phase and get towards those items can be an absolute powerhouse. And that extra sustain is going to do nicely against a couple of the spells being thrown at him constantly from the opposing side. As we've gone for the Taric, the standard Callista lane partner. And that actually does give a lot of potential for Legacy's team fighting, where it's not necessarily engage. It's not the Malphite, right? But they don't take damage, so they can be very bold in their positioning.
This was my question coming into this one. What version of Legacy would we get? Would we get the one that goes into Chiefs and takes them down in 28 minutes? Or would we get the one that we saw yesterday into the Direwolves of playing for those 2 items, playing for the late game, playing for that fight that they say we want to take, and then winning the game based off that? We're going to see aggression here today. The final pick from Ayla will be his Rakan. They've got engaged. They've got ability to lock members down and the ability to try and sidestep that Cosmic Radiance.
I think Order's overall comp here is very much about going forwards, where I'm getting the feeling that Legacy will be happy to kite and move their way backwards, and that kind of does fit into the wheelhouse of both respective teams' play styles here, as well as the team compositions in general. So you've got your Ashe, you've got your Rakan, you've got your Ornn as major engage tools for the side of Order. That's 2 lanes where they can look for that as well. So only has a field day, honestly, when it comes to potential lane selection for the ganks. But if Isles gets a big ultimate off and that engage doesn't go the way that Order have planned, the turnaround, the follow back into their faces can be a serious amount of damage. Hard to say from just the drafts alone who would have the edge in this one. I think I would rather be Order's team composition personally, especially in Ose, who loves to fight all the time. But if the flawless execution is there from Legacy, I think they can get the edge.
I'm just trying to find the last time we got to see Isles there on that Taric. He's got a 100% win rate on it. I'm remembering that one time where he flashed across the wall, hit them with a 2-man stun, and just guaranteed the team fight win based off that. This is a guy that is definitely no shy stranger to making plays and looking to, I suppose, put the spotlight on himself, whereas it's typically put on the likes of the carries. But the big question mark obviously has to be the fact that Halo has come on in. He's going to showcase what he can do in the Orianna. There's a few picks looking to try and nullify the Orianna kit. But there is definitely a window for them to set themselves up with some wombo combos.
Yeah, definitely an opportunity for them to do such a thing. Of course, we're under the rift here, Skimmy. The winner of this game should be outright first place, I believe. As
Correct.
They are just 1 win below on the standings order behind Legacy, who are in first place. An early game is going to be a pretty significant factor in this one. And a couple of things that we need to just tick off the list first here, Skimmy, is bot lane for Raze is going to be cleansed with Lethal Tempo. It's not going to be exhaust with Hail of Blades, which is much more of like that level 1 all-in type of lane. They have a Nidalee jungle and an Aatrox top lane. So in terms of lane priority, I expect them to have close to none of it on the top side of the map, and Order pretty much have it in bottom lane just by having the Ashe, as long as they don't miss position. So I think the game starts pretty well in the hands of Order, and so that means you have to look at Only to see where he's going to start himself.
Let's see what Only does. He's consciously made the decision to go for the Olaf into this Nidalee. I mentioned before that the Nidalee factor had been a winning one. It's won twice on 2 different occasions here, and it has been first picked by Legacy to try and give themselves a form of momentum, a bit of tempo, a bit of ability to control the map and scale up to efficiency. We saw what Croc did the other day when he essentially was a laner. There's definitely a few star players in the league that can act to that carry potential. This has to be the area of the map that I'm excited for. There was a lot of priority shown to ban away certain picks.
W start from Swiper here as well. Usually the Q starts because it's free damage. Maybe it's to get rid of the mini knockups that Aatrox has so that he can get an auto attack off and match a level 1 trade. Not really going to see too much of it though. It's curious as it just does go a little bit against the North.
Let's see what they decide to do here. Expecting to see Ayla try to keep Taric as low as possible, try to keep him zoned away, try to really bully the achievement that a Callisto is looking to try and find and control that priority, control that harassment, really dismiss the pressure that Babbitt will be wanting to outlay. We saw a couple of variations on the Nidalee. We've seen Conqueror. We're going to see Electrocute here today. All about the burst, quick fights.
Nidalee has also just been spotted, Skimmy, by a Hawkshot that Rare just threw. So minimap reveals that pings go onto the Nidalee's face. Only now has the choice of if he wants to continue to just full clear his jungle, which makes sense. He's already pretty much ahead in camps. There's a bit of aggression in bottom lane. And I think things will continue as expected. You know, you've seen the priority in bot. It's pretty big. You can see mid lane right now as well. He's got the cannon pushing. So Harry also having that priority in mid. Top lane, a little bit slower is Swiper. He knows that he's not on the strong side of the map just from draft. He knows that Nidalee is on his side of the map, so he'll be happy to let the waves come to him until the Olaf's in a position to assist.
Gonna be quite patient, quite happy to wait. And as we can see there, that's the exchange of a few trades that will favor the Ashe. Burning first consumables as easily as possible. Still a major advantage here for the Ashe lane, however. They've got the advantage in that department. It's going to be Zoe rotating on through, going to clear out the vision to spot and say, well, Nidalee's not bottom side. You're clear to continue to be aggressive under turret. And to place a deep vision ward as well.
You know, one of the things that the Ashe does actually have in this lane most of the time, besides that nice little trade there from Raze, might have jinxed it, is that you can hit your volleys with ease. And that basically guarantees lethal tempo through majority of your time spent in lane. So not only are you harassing your opponents, you have the opportunity to push much faster than that of a Kalista. And because you'll always get that lethal tempo proc off first, if they try and force a trade and you've hit the volley already, you're going to be attacking faster than the Kalista is for the first couple seconds of the fight. And that's one of the big things that makes, you know, Varus and an Ashe good picks into Kalista as well, is you can just slow them, you are potentially stronger, or you can just run away because they're slowed, right? Both champions can do that from a longer range than a Kalista auto.
We might see some Kalista autos in a second because this is a lot of deep vision very early on here by Order. That's a pink wall down towards their red buff area, so they know exactly what's going on this side of the map. Trap will reveal and will clear it out, but only will take an opportunity to try and deny a bit of his jungle as well. As you can see, they are looking to try and bully out and pressure the bottom lane and potentially find that fight that opens the floodgates and allows them to control the first dragon.
Yeah, both jungles being bot side does make it a lot harder to consider going for the Drake itself. Babip should be aware at this point that only is receded back to his own jungle, but he doesn't know which side as all camps are available. So not going to consider going for the Drake you would expect. Also a ward going to show Babip there as he ticks over to level 5. Jungle's doing the same thing, really. Just farming, taking what little advantages they can. Bot just maintaining priority, hasn't netted a massive CS advantage. Top also equalizing, so we're really just waiting for level 6 to see if something can come about at that point in the game. And once again, it's an Ashe Rakan bot lane, so the engage is possible there. And they could even flip map at any time when Herald becomes the primary objective and start trying to make plays on Top Rune's Aatrox. So a lot of options still here.
Definitely a lot of options, but as it stands, it's all about individual one-on-ones. That might change, however, as the first gank takes place topside. Out goes the Tether, and that is the route to prevent Swiper from coming on through. Spear connects! That's a pounce of flash on the first blood for Legacy. Out comes the World Ender as he wants to make Order's dream a nightmare. Oh, he's going to fall on down 1-for-1 as the teleports come on through. The mid laners want to get in on this skirmish, but they will show up and they will disengage as they run straight back to where they came from.
Yeah, kind of unfortunate that Halo teleports in there as well. He also just gets his recall cancelled because he's on vision and is now just going to walk his way back to mid lane. If Hayri gets another poke off here, that could actually be devastating. Halo can't make his mind up. Kind of just watching the mind of a mid laner here to see what he wants to make happen. Either way, top lane, Babip with a fantastic spear. And top lane getting level 6 off the back of it as well makes a whole lot of difference for turning that play around. And it's 2-1 now in favor of Legacy.
2-1, a spear that will smurf in. As Order come back with vengeance, they come back towards the bottom side of the map. They're going to start up the first dragon. It'll be an Ocean Dragon that is denied. A nice little bit of sustain to start things off with. And they'll be quite happy with the fact that it's a Mountain Soul coming up next, or Mountain Dragon, I should say. Seems to be playing for a Cloud or Inferno. We're looking at tons of rotations, tons of damage as an option on the cards.
And I think it's actually pretty important to reiterate why that teleport from Halo was kind of unfortunate. You know, Hayri gets back to mid lane in time to catch the wave before it crashes under the turret. You can see a CS difference now between mid laners as well. So not only does Halo not get a free reset off for a teleport back to lane, he also doesn't push the wave in and make it crash so that Hayri's teleport gets punished. He basically just equalizes the mid lane, which actually gives an advantage to Hayri because of the way that the waves were set up. That is significant, and that can be quite a difference.
You can see it becoming a bit of a difference so far if you just take stock check of their CS right now. 73 into 49, that's a ton of damage, that's a ton of numbers, and that is a ton of gold going the way of Zoe, which we know what can do with a couple of items under her belt. Harry quite proficient on that champion as top lane will now go crashing on in, and they look to try and assert some control as to the second objective on the map, be it the Herald. The Scuttle didn't go their way, but they do have vision in the area elsewhere.
Oh, one other thing, I guess, Skibby, as well here is Hayri has no flash and Halo no shockwave. So I think at the time when Nidalee went mid lane, there was a bit of a biffo there. So a couple of spells missing, and you mentioned the item spikes from Hayri. That's definitely something we're going to have to look towards. But I would actually say first and foremost look at the shockwave timing, because if that happens, he's about to cop it. The shockwave happens and Babip's in the area. The punish on Hayri could actually be big.
Could be. Also, you got the telegraphed portal, as you can see there, as he jumps on through and says hello, and becomes the menace that Zoe is so known for. So we keep our eyes firmly fixated on this Nidalee. Where is Babip? What is his priority? What does he want to do? How does he want to try and carry his team to victory to achieve that strong early game start that was found and formulated at the top side of this map? Gonna be another 2-for-2 little skirmish. Let's see if Orianna comes across. Shockwave is now there, however. That's the world end of the Tether will be cancelled out based on the Ragnarok, but the Ornal comes on through. That's going to disengage. He can't be disabled, but he can die. And that's what they'll be bouncing upon as they jump on through, and Babip secures another kill. The top side of the map belongs to Legacy.
Yeah, they're able to get the first move here from top, and you can see the wave already crashing in top lane. So they have priority of that lane.
Can they find anything on the bottom side of the map, however? A teleport is going to come on through. Cosmic Radiance pops. That prevents Order going any further in that fight. Spoon going to teleport in. Is actually looking for the solo kill onto Ayla. Disrespect underneath their own turret.
Alright, it seems top end wants to 1v9 this one, and so far so good. Babip also playing out of his mind. Ayla really also continuing to need to respect. It seems like they just wanted to stop that recall from Topoon. Teleport in bot lane ultimately doesn't mean anything, but it does protect the bottom lane of his team. Still now 2-0-2 is the top laner of Legacy, well on his way to being overwhelmingly strong. And that's without even including the strength of their current jungler, Babip, who has had a pretty good start of this game, has been farming incredibly well, but has also been hitting the mark with a lot of his skill shots and right place, right time, keeping Legacy with the best foot forward.
And that's what they want, right? They're banking on the success of Raze coming online, getting very strong very early on. If you've got a bruiser on top of that, if you've got a jungler too that can say, we're going to start off this objective, I've got levels of advantages, our smite will hit harder. It all funds the idea of we want this game to have as little mistakes as possible. We don't want to really give an advantage like we saw yesterday of an 8k gold gap, which, you know, if you play that one around another time, you might not be as lucky to come back from.
I just feel like that's a fair statement to make. I just feel like the way that Order played that last Herald decision, that they are playing super risky League of Legends. Like, they knew Babip was in the area. They've had vision around that for sure. And I think maybe banking on the fact that they had mid priority as a way to take the objective, and Topoon literally just walked over. If you're top laner, the enemy top laner can just walk over to you and win the fight, essentially. Like, should you even be at the objective, right? Is definitely a question you have to be asking yourself, and no doubt Order will regret that one given the results. But it's a very bold decision.
Feels to be that case. Let's see what the response is. We know they're a team that are disciplined. We know they're a team that have found a ton of success in recent times. They are the team to beat currently with an 8-win streak and hot on the heels of Legacy. As I mentioned before, the head-to-head is tied at 1 apiece. This is a battle for first position. As Ella jumps across that wall, but he's going to be met with a stun. Both supports flexing their engage potential. Trying to break through the top side of that map as there were 4, now 5 members of Order trying to pinch and diminish this Kalista. But the Herald's going to be summoned bottom lane, and with it being prepped as perfectly as it has been, Aatrox is going to come just a little bit stronger, and that is going to be the first Herald going their way.
Yeah, just a little bit. Skibby is maybe understatement of the year here as well. Just take a second, and let's just look at the difference between these top laners in relative strength right now. You've got a full item completed, the Black Cleaver for Topoon. 118 CS to 73. Gets the first turret as well as full turret plates there shared with Babip. He is overwhelmingly strong. The second he gets onto the map, like if there is actually a group-based skirmish, he's in trouble. As speaking of,
Babip's in trouble. He smite steals away the blue buff. Now he needs to try and get on out. R2, the ultimate, does not connect. Topoon goes to sleep. He's got the Amn advantage. He could genuinely 1v3 right now. Will he jump across the pit? He's got the the cone to disengage if he needs to. He's going to get knocked into the wall so far. The Shockwave comes out, hits nothing, but it doesn't seem to really matter because they're going to turn their attention onto Swiper. Swiper falls on down. Now Harry playing with fire. He's got the stuns, he's got the flashes. He just doesn't have the damage. And Tapoon just laughs in the face of adversity.
Yeah, he kind of just stands and delivers there. The fight was initially onto Babip, which is a fine target to pick. He's quite squishy at the moment, so if you're able to get the engage off, then that's fantastic. But they chased towards the Aatrox, and we just spoke about how strong he is. I think it's fair to say that going towards the Aatrox, there's a certain point, you know, a certain number of Teemos away from him where you're like, we shouldn't take this. And Order went a little bit beyond that limit, and they were punished.
They certainly were, without any healing cut, without any real genuine items. I mean, you're looking at a substantial 4 to 5k gold lead separating these two teams before the 15-minute mark. The majority of that is found in this Aatrox, a sprinkling into this Nidalee as well. You know, you're looking at very strong advantages found there, and when the skirmish is being forced upon those two, there's no denying the outcome is going to go the way it did now. So we're going to see him once again on your screen. Just going to showcase. You can play the scaling game, you can look to try and give us some ornaments, but that's not going to be a reality for a very long time.
Yeah, it is still going to be quite some time away. 2 levels behind in his laning phase, Skimmy. Level 9. Not the place that an Ornn ever wants to find himself. So most likely, if you were Swiper, you'd be stuck in that side lane for a while. Just sitting there as long as you can, trying to be as uninteractive as possible. Try and get that experience up as soon as possible for your team to increase their strength. I think you would be banking primarily around the Ashe and the Zoe as 2 major tools here for Order to bring themselves back into this game at all. You've got a couple of targets that you could definitely look towards. Halo is going to be one of those landmark targets. Doesn't have the Seraph's Embrace completed, though he does still currently have that flash. A good engage, may be able to pick him off. Harder to do something like that with a Kalista Taric, very ridiculously safe bottom lane, and also the cleanse there for Raze makes it even harder to throw something like an Ashe Arrow to engage. So I think the game plan is find Babip or find Halo. If you can take one of them out, that's fantastic. If you can't, well, you just have to keep looking for them.
They're going to keep looking for them, they're going to keep searching, but they might not find what they're after right now because a fight comes on through. That's 1 spear and a meaty chunk of Rare's health bar disappears.
That was huge. Big spear. Rod of Ages completed, so it's going to get worse from here. It hasn't even completely stacked up. This is a very worrying position for Order to be in overall 15 minutes into this one. Herald 2 about to spawn, so maybe that's a place where they'll consider grouping, but I wouldn't want to do that if Toppin was in the area, and he does have the teleport available.
Does have the teleport. Also interesting to note here, Rusty, that we've overlooked is the fact that it's a Manamune on the Ashe here today. Going to be playing very much Ezreal-esque. We have a ton of mana to continue to skill shot from afar.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Strong auto attacks as well.
One of the biggest strengths that Ashe has over the Kalista is going to be distance-based trades. And, you know, at a certain point, Kalista's just going to have too much lifesteal for you to deal with anyway. I guess it does allow you to remain uninteractive in that laning phase specifically. And it's a ridiculously cost-efficient item, and it's cheap for item spikes. We'll take a little bit to actually, you know,
scale
stack that
through.
one up.
Yeah.
But as you get levels in your W, it'll be a little bit easier. So level 9 now will be at his fastest point of scaling. It's just not going to be an immediate one-item spike, you know. And he's not dealing with a super tank on the other team where you'd want a Blade of the Ruined King forced into your build.
Going to complement the Zoe quite nicely. We've seen a few variations on the Ashe build to complement the likes of, do you want to go lethal tempo for the on-hit style of gameplay, or do you want to be the cooldown reduction, poke from afar, be an annoyance, and also try and dictate and work about it in that sort of fashion. He's gone for the Executioners. The Bramble Vest obviously there as well, so there's a few avenues now for Order to try and keep this Aatrox at bay. They'll need to, because they're going to have to obviously worry about a very fed Nidalee too. That can complement with some heals as well.
Every spear means business, man. Every spear means business. Oh.
Spears mean business. Apparently Axes do too, as Halo gets caught topside river, forced to flash away into his own blue buff. That will be all they need as an invitation to say we're going to start up the next dragon of the game. Cloud Soul is what we're playing for now.
be a free Drake as well. You wouldn't expect Order to contest this one, not the way that the game's currently looking. Babip will eventually turn around to make sure that one is secured. And here they come towards Swiper. Cancel his dash there.
He's in trouble right now. He has to flash if he needs to. But that is a ton of damage. That is going to go his way right now. And I know it feels like a roughie, because it is. He's relegated himself to a situation of doing donuts in the lane.
Ooh, can they even fight this?
Order capitalize top side. They take him out. There's a fight on 3 separate occasions right now. They catch out Rare without a support, and they take him down for free. Isles is so healthy. He pops that hill for good measure. That's enough to get him out. And Legacy win 2 of their 1 fights.
Yeah, Babip goes bot lane. They work together to kill Swiper, and then mid lane just caught by himself there, Rare. With the flash available, it's worth pointing out, but copped the knockup from Taric. So once that had connected, it was on. Herald going to get summoned here as well. This turret is absolutely gone, so they're just going to need to disengage. Gold lead snowballing out of control after this turret goes down as well. They're still going.
They're still going. You can see the fire in their eyes right there as Raze is leading the line as a tank, chasing on through, applying the stacks, causing the pain, and trying to diminish the hype that has been surrounding this team and saying, no, we are the team first on the ladder for a reason.
I've decided we need to stop being excited for games of League.
Why is that?
Those are the only times when they aren't exciting games. And like this is not. It's not because this is a bad game, just to make that clear. It's because Legacy have had such a good handle on all of the skirmishes and control of this game, except for Halo.
There it is again. Halo with no flash from a previous engagement. He gets targeted, but here come the cavalry. Legacy coming in to protect him and support him. The stun lands. The Ragnarok cancels it out, but he will fall on down regardless. A little bit too bloodthirsty to capitalize on the substitute here. Mr. Poon is back to the bottom lane. They've evened out their levels, but the story is still the same. There's not much that Swiper can do. He's forced to flash away this time. His Order's backup might just be enough. I say that, but it is still the 1v3 show. Tapoon is a monster. He'll receive ultimates. He'll receive respect. Legacy are still keen to take him down.
Tapoon may have just been a little bit unconfident when he maybe shouldn't have been so unconfident. He could have taken that. I honestly think he could have won that 1v3. But he backed away once the Order ultimate came out, just in case it felt like. But nevertheless, he's still going to retain control of this lane and this entire area of the map. His area of control is just steadily growing. So it's no longer just bot lane, it is the entire blue side jungle. Halo.
Top side is where it's at. He's going to hide himself behind a minion. Paddlestar's going to connect. There's the auto. There's the execution. This is the man you wanted to see for Order pop off and find success. And he's definitely one on his way right now. Has retained that CS advantage and now 2 kills to his name.
Yeah, he's still going to be a threat for sure. It's going to be a lot harder for him, though, to burst out the Aatrox, to burst out the Nidalee, and to get through a Seraph's Orianna when she's specifically grouped up with the team. So you do have to take it with a grain of salt. I think Harry's having a decent game for himself overall, but can he play his role as Zoe against the enemy team comp when they're so snowballed is yet to be seen, and it's pretty unlikely, to be honest. But credit where it's due. He's still 2-0, doing his best.
He's wearing his carry pants here today as he picks himself up a stopwatch. Got the Banshee's Veil as well, so he's going to be very protected in his own right to try, be sneaky, and try and find those avenues to open up the game in their favor, to try and turn around this deficit that they're currently facing at 21 minutes in, down by 5k and down by 5 kills as well. As if you look at the side lanes here for Legacy, whilst top side is well and truly doomed, bottom lane is starting to become a little bit boomed.
They're at least farming very well. It must be getting closer to that evolve on the Manamune to Muramana sooner or later here. The last thing that Legacy really need to do is just for Halo to stop dying. It's been a couple of times now. Like, he did survive when Only was walking at him, but he was positioned in a place where it was easy for Order to continue to pick on him. And it's been pretty well known at this point, pretty well documented that Order are just going to pick on Halo. He's a teleporting member of the team, but he hasn't been super supported by Legacy with vision or control, and that's just because Tapoon's so massive. You know, Halo maybe not adjusting that playstyle to account for the fact that he was actually being pretty heavily weak-sided as an Orianna. Rare for mid laners to not get resources, they're all greedy little buggers.
Look at that minimap though, Rusty. You can see that Halo has been bullied out of his own jungle. He's forced to take the very defensive route towards that top side. They have got their tent pitched, They are making sure that that side lane belongs to the Zoe, and that he is left on an island separated from the rest of his team.
He's learned his lesson now, though, for sure. You know, he is walking the safe route, right? He is positioning himself fairly safely to account for the fact that Order are picking on him. Of course, it's unfortunate that it took a death, but it's the way it is. He's a new player on the team. Either way, Legacy overall, still retaining that control and just slowly, steadily snowballing the game out through these objectives. And, I mean, that's very Legacy.
Very Legacy, and they have put this game on a bit of a timer now as to we can't allow Zoe to get too much far ahead. We have got a little bit of magic resistance on our side right now, but that is the main threat that they are currently facing here. And I wouldn't be laughing at 30% reduction on my ultimate, especially with the ultimates they have. So make sure that these fights would be quick, explosive, and very much in a winning way.
Swiper does have the first ornament online for himself, upgrading to the Forge Fire Cape, but of course he's gone for the Bramble Vest before he goes for that second upgradable item. It's an Aatrox matchup, it's not something that's massively surprising, but we are also getting the 2 item spikes across the board here, Skimmy, for most of the members of Order, and for Legacy for that matter. They're working on their third, so pretty much everywhere they're going to have the slight item lead except for mid. But even then, you know, Halo's keeping up as best he can. He's got his 2 item spikes. He's gone for the Banshees here as well, so a little bit more defensively oriented, which is totally fair when you've got the enemy team coming towards you and Zoe Bubbles locking you down. And Hayri's actually gone for a similar thing with his build. So he's gone for the Banshee's Veil into what seems like will be the Death Cap now. And in a losing game, you know, they're down 6k at this point, and he's the only person of the team that really is ahead. Going for the defensive build can be a double-edged sword. Because realistically, you want to be the guy one-hitting everybody and dealing damage.
Let's see there. The investment with the Enchanted Arrow cancelled out by the Fate's Call. Legacy will take that advantage. That was giving up my next, follow-up question was, for Order, what is their game plan right now? Because you bet your bottom dollar Legacy aren't going to go risk it at a Baron call. They're going to be quite happy to continue to play these lanes, continue to buy as many items as possible, and wait for that 3-minute soul point. Order was looking to find those picks, which we saw a glimpse of there.
I mean, we are just going to be playing around anywhere that Ornn and Aatrox are not, ideally. I don't think the game plan has changed in the past few minutes, and just looking at Halo, he's the most likely person to take down. Nidalee still working towards 2 items at once here, it seems.
It is.
The Lich Bane, and as well as the Zonias, which has just been completed, so now gets to work towards the damage build. And with that Zonias, even harder to take down the Nidalee.
With that said, look at the gold differences between these two. I mean, it's been set in the stars from day one. Minute 1, you're looking at 4 to 3k gold leads between these matchups. 2-level difference in the jungle. At this stage, you're looking at a Nidalee that could play a side lane if you wanted to.
And I really don't know what Order can do. Ultimately, Skimmy, we're just trying to find that silver lining. I don't think that they outscale super hard or anything like that either. Like, there is a Kalista in the game who has been known as someone that drops off, but not really when you have a Taric in the team as well to support you, right? So, Legacy scale fine into this game.
Well, there's the Muramana, and that's a big power spike here for the Ashes. They once again look for that engagement. The arrow goes out, doesn't mean it's marked. Fate's Call cancelled out. Cosmic Radiance makes the entire Legacy roster invulnerable. They find 1, they find 2, they lock and place a 3rd. Then Tether connects. Ornn is in trouble, forced to dash away. He has the flash and he'll use it, but still gets stunned under the outer turret. That's a triple kill here, picked up by Legacy. A minute 30 on the soul point, and with a numbers advantage like that and the jungler gone, this time they can go to Baron with confidence.
And while Hayri is alive, he's not really dealing any damage. So Order will continue to struggle in this game. Legacy will win the team fight. They'll go straight to the Baron buff itself. It's getting close to half HP already. Raze, completely unstopped when he hits this, will do significant damage.
They want more. They're not content with that. Oh, he gets slingshot back. He dashes across the wall and gets yoinked straight back to where he came from. That is not the fight they wanted for.
Reverse card. Just pulls it back.
That is the montage clip they weren't hoping to go their way. Baron online now here for Legacy. A 10k gold lead, 28 minutes in. A reset, a recall, an item purchase, and a soul point to fight for.
They just don't have enough damage to be able to deal with Legacy in any kind of combat situation at all. Teleport's coming out here. That is presumably going to be the Zoe. This is all about contesting what is going to be the Cloud Soul, but can they contest this one? And why is the answer no, Skibby? Because there's just no way that they can deal with Legacy. This may be where they draw the line and say, maybe we can pull out some really good mechanical plays.
Rare does not have a flash. He's very vulnerable at this stage of the game. Raze, however, does. He still has his cleanse as well. So the battle between the AD carries will definitely favor him so far. But that's forgetting the rest of his team. How strong they are. 10-0 are they topside. Pretty strong at this stage of the game is the understatement of the year, as they will just zone them out. Collect themselves that soul point. 30% reduction on the ultimates. A ton of movement speed to chase you down. If it wasn't difficult to run away from the likes of an Aatrox in Italy before, it certainly is for sure right here, right now.
I can't say for certain if that ward was actually revealing Babbitt, but he was just waiting for the blue buff anyway. Nobody going to contest him. All it could have meant is that if Order were conveniently grouped in mid, they might have been able to look at 3 people there, but I'm not even sure they win that. Kind of just waiting for the inevitable in this situation. Order absolutely the most desperate position they'll find themselves in this game. A team fight win here doesn't even get them back in advantage. It just equalizes a little bit the state of this game.
All ultimates are up and available. 2 waves prepped. 2 inhibitors in their sights. The Shirley gets popped. The Fate's called Chucks in. Isles, he's looking for the stun. Who's he going to go in for? He meets an arrow to the face. A shockwave connects and a shockwave delivers the pain. 2 members fall on down. Ashe is gone. Olaf has disappeared. And the bot lane of Order have been dismantled. The inhibitors will fall on down, and with a Nexus turret in their sights, they are looking for a 30-minute victory here. Legacy have changed up the roster. They've changed up the playstyle. But they're looking for the victory here. They want to showcase that, yes, you could have tied us at first place, but we don't want that to be a situation to fight for. From start to finish here, Rusty, it has been their playground to play on. They've had their fun in the sun. And they can say, for sure, 16-3, that was GG.
It was just a matter of time the way that game started in favor of Legacy there. They'll get it just around the 30-minute mark. Good showing from them overall. I think the most important standout players are Topoon and Babip once again. You know, the bot lane of Legacy was perfectly fine. Halo is still someone that is going to be finding his feet through the OPL, and they were able to win very handedly with or without his presence in team fighting. Topoon has his days, man. And when he has his days, he's just the best top laner that we've seen. And today was an on day for sure against Order.
Certainly was a very scary time to go into a Topoon in red hot form, not to mention Babip as well. And that is, once again, Legacy showing the class that they have multiple threats in multiple different lanes. We're going to jump to a quick break. And we're going to get ourselves geared up for the second game of the day. It's going to be the Chiefs taking on Gravitas.
Today is the NeoSurf Cup, and we're going to be playing against Misfits, so hopefully we can bring home the win.
NeoSurf is simple, safe and secure. You can go to your local shop and get a voucher code and use it online, preferably to buy League of Legends skins.
He's got it! This is deadly! He's got it!
If you're craving the taste of your favourites, head to Macca's for a fast, safe and contactless drive-through experience. For your Macca's run, contact free, we'll be here.